Hey everyone, it's American Girl Emma. I have not made a video in 5 years, and I've actually never shown my face on my channel. In the 5 years that I've been gone from YouTube, I haven't stopped loving American Girl. But 5 years ago was when I started college. So between going to school, getting a job, working 2 jobs actually, and doing homework when I'm home, there was no time to make videos. But in the past couple of weeks, I've actually had some free time. Even when the quarantine happened, I did not have free time because I was still going to school online. I had hours of homework every single day. I was working my job from online, and there was no time. I still had no time. The quarantine was not a break for me. But now that it is officially summer, my summer classes are over, my job is off for the summer, I'm actually free for once. So I've gotten back into American Girl. So the main reason I wanted to make this video was to show you my new doll, Melody. I am so happy to finally have her. When she came out a couple of years ago, I saw her in the catalog and I absolutely loved her. I thought she was so cute, and she's also from one of my favorite time periods ever. I love the 60s, but I didn't get her. At that time, I felt that I had enough American Girl dolls, and since I really didn't spend time playing with them, dressing them, or even making YouTube videos, I felt that it didn't make sense for me to spend money on another doll. But with everything that's been happening politically, American Girl has popped back up. Since the murder of George Floyd in May, people have been bringing up all the racist aspects in our society. Not that people weren't talking about it before, but people were bringing up things that other people haven't noticed before, or things that have been pointed out but really need to be done away with. So someone brought up American Girl as something that was racist. People complained about Addie being a slave doll, but then a lot of American Girl fans were quick to defend Addie and American Girl in general. So for a while, Addie was the only black American Girl doll, and people were complaining about the fact that she just had to be a slave, that the only black representation that American Girl had was of black people's victimization and oppression. Now, the defense was that American Girl didn't just create Addie to stereotype black people, and it wasn't white people who created Addie. There was actually a board, an advisory board of African Americans who worked on the creation of Addie. And that's actually true for most of the American Girl dolls. They were all thoroughly researched, and they had advisory boards of historians, educators, writers, psychologists. So these dolls are not simply stereotypes or randomly picked representations of a certain time period. They're thoroughly researched, and they're actually very educational. Last week I read this book called Playing with America's Doll, a cultural analysis of the American Girl collection by Emilie Zaslow, and it's really, really good. So the book starts off by talking about the creation of American Girl and its intentions, and then it goes on to analyze the feminist aspect of American Girl and the racial and ethnicity components. It's a really good book, very informative, a very good analysis, and I learned a lot. So in that book, they talked about Addie's creation as well as her stories, and also Cecile's creation and Melody. So yeah, let me get back to my point a little bit. So once people were fighting over American Girl online, and then other people were coming to its defense, my passion was reinvigorated. And I just felt the need to reconnect with my dolls, and I also felt the need to make my collection more diverse. So I already did have one black doll. I had Cecile. I did not have Addie. So because I already liked Melody and I love her time period, I figured I should get her. I always thought she was adorable and her story is amazing, so why not add another black doll to my collection? So here is Melody. She is beautiful. I love everything about her, and I'm so happy I have her. So I will be making a haul video with all the things I bought Melody, and also a couple more things, which is why I have Samantha and Nellie here. But I did want to take this video to kind of come back to my channel, reintroduce myself, and talk about getting Melody and everything that's been happening in the country, and talk about this book. So, while I love American Girl, and while I've always praised it for its historical accuracy, in recent years it kind of has gone downhill. I made a video talking about the BeForever collection, and I thought that was a huge downfall for American Girl. If you don't know, BeForever is the revamping of the historical collection. So basically, they took history and updated it, modernized it, which makes no sense if the point is history. And they also girlified it and pinkified it. Now, the focus has always been girls, but the problem is they kind of put a contemporary spin on what being a girl means. So in today's world, people think that being a girl is being pink and sparkles, and that didn't exist back in the day. Yes, there were stereotypes for women and girls, and boys and girls were dressed differently, and they were told to take different paths and play with different toys. But the pink equals girls and blue equals boys did not exist back in the day, especially in Samantha's time, because pink was actually used for boys and blue was actually used for girls. And it just wasn't as pervasive as it is today. Like, while pink was thought of as a boyish color, it didn't infiltrate society the way it does today. So, I know that American Girl has become less historically accurate, which I lament, but this book, again, Playing with America's Doll by Emilie Zaslow, this book has really opened my eyes to how inferior the American Girl collection has become. So besides ignoring history in favor of selling products to modern kids, and like I said, they're encouraging modern day femininity, this book has taught me that what American Girl is selling is actually normative femininity. So even though the color scheme wasn't true to the historical eras, the items that American Girl is pushing to sell is more traditional. So for example, in most of the girls' stories, they resist traditional femininity, they defy gender roles, they break stereotypes, and the items that American Girl, specifically under Pleasant Rowland, used to sell kind of push that. There used to be more diversity in what items were being sold, so like school desks and items that were specific to the story, but American Girl has largely retired all of those things and has just been selling food items, beauty items, bedroom items, traditional homemaking things, which is very hypocritical and contradictory to the stories written for these dolls. And again, I'm just talking about the historical / BeForever collection. I'm not talking about the Truly Me collection. Like, they sell a variety of things, but it's just so hypocritical how, these dolls have stories of girls being so powerful in history, but then they're just selling traditional femininity items. Now, my last point is that they've also done away with some of the cultural items, which is very, very unfortunate. So, Addie had certain African games that she used to play, and Josephina had things that related to her culture. They are no longer sold. So the stories that the girls read about in the American Girl books, they can't actually play if they're not being sold those items. Sure, they can imagine it, but of course, little kids like to play with physical things, and that scripts their play. So if you give a child a school desk, they will play school. If you give a child a mirror and a vanity, they will play makeup, So the items that American Girl is selling are usually not related to the stories, and they stick to the traditional narrative that girls and women should be confined to the domestic sphere. And additionally, they have really taken culture out of it. So for all the dolls, whether black or white, it's like, ooh, they have food. Okay, but where are the African games or the Mexican items? So when you fail to include these in what you're selling to girls, you are failing to educate them. The book questions, why does an American Girl sell a soapbox for Rebecca? Because in her story, she's at some sort of protest, and there's a soapbox which people used to stand on back in the day and talk, like a podium, a raised platform. And, so this book questions, why doesn't American Girl sell that? So girls can put their doll on the soapbox and then give a speech. That would follow the story, and it would follow what American Girl is preaching about, resisting gender norms and, being a powerful girl and using your voice. But no, American Girl sells food and beauty and hair items. So the book inspired me to make a soapbox for Rebecca, and I did. And I made a video on how to make it, so I will post that tutorial soon. Now, the book also questions why isn't Melody sold with picket signs? Because she was at the Civil Rights March, was she not? She has this pin, Equal Rights in '63, and I actually really like this because it's a historical replica, so this was actually a pin they had back in the day, so I do give American Girl props for making that. But yeah, why isn't she sold with picket signs? So what I did was, I made picket signs. I hope this is in focus. So for this one, it says, "We demand equal rights now." Yes. So I actually Googled an image of a civil rights march and found, I thought she was gonna fall, and found a sign that I liked. And I cropped it and printed it out. So the thing is, it's a little blurry, but the picture was taken in the 60s and the sign was really small in the picture, so I had to, you know, zoom in and crop it. But I really like it. And then I also did, the sign says, "Integration now, segregation never." Now this was not a sign, I could not find it, but this phrase is popular in the movie Hairspray, or it might just be, it might be one of the movies, it might be the musical. There's 3 versions of Hairspray, I can't remember which right now. But they chant this at their civil rights protest. And I couldn't find a sign with it, but I really do like the phrase. So I typed it up in Word, picked a font I liked, and I printed it. So now Melody can participate in politics like she does in her stories. I do have a tutorial on these as well, which I will be posting. So I encourage everyone watching this video to really think about what the stories of these girls say and what the items that American Girl is selling says too. Do the stories and the items work together or work against each other? Or do they kind of just exist not relating to each other at all? But I encourage you to think about that, and I encourage you to make items that you think would be great for your doll that American Girl doesn't sell. These American Girl dolls are people with stories reflecting history, reflecting real girls and women who were brave and courageous throughout history. So my dolls are full-on political, my dolls are full-on activists, they are smart and intelligent and brave and powerful. Their items will showcase that. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed my video. And I don't think I've ever made a talking video this long, especially on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you watch my haul video and my tutorials. I should be coming out with 3 more videos. So thank you. Bye everyone.